Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India News Hour, India's voice to the world. I am Prasar Bharati. Coming up in the next hour. Israel set to dispatch a team to Cairo for discussions with Hamas. Ceasefire high on agenda. Israel warns this is the last chance for a truce deal. UK launches physical checks on fresh food products imported from European Union. Fresh move 3 years post country left the bloc. Philippines Coast Guard says vessel damaged from China's use of water cannon. China expels Philippine vessels from Scarborough shore. Excitement grips India amidst the ongoing general elections 2024. Third phase polling on May 7th. Campaigning in full swing in various parts of the country. Israel is set to dispatch a team to Cairo on Tuesday for discussions with Hamas on the latest ceasefire plan in the Gaza Strip. In its latest proposal, Israel has warned that now is the last chance for a truce deal before its army launches a ground operation in the southern Gaza city of Rafah. A Hamas delegation has already concluded talks with Egyptian mediators and left Cairo on Monday. They will return for talks with a written response to the proposed truce. And U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has departed Saudi Arabia for Jordan on Tuesday. Jordan is the next stop as part of a broader trip to the West Asia that is aimed at discussing with Arab partners over the ongoing conflict. Visits comes after U.S. President Joe Biden demanded to improve the humanitarian situation in Gaza earlier this month. All right, for more on this, DD India correspondent Sarah Coates joins us. Sarah, Antony Blinken has urged Hamas to accept a ceasefire proposal on his visit to Middle East and called it extraordinarily generous on Israel's part. What do you have for us on this?
Hello there, Sid. Certainly a lot of diplomatic pressure being put here on Hamas. We also need to tell you that the US President Joe Biden, he spoke to Egypt's president overnight, also the Emir of Qatar, urging them to pull out all stops, really to use every effort possible to get these hostages released, saying that this is the only obstacle standing in the way of an immediate ceasefire and also relief for civilians in the Gaza Strip. Now, this comes as Israeli army radio is reporting, citing senior officials as saying that an operation down into the southern Gazan city of Rafah will be launched if a deal is not agreed to. Now, I mentioned intense diplomatic pressure being put on Hamas, but also really a lot of internal pressure being put here on the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and also the rest of the government. There were demonstrations here in Tel Aviv overnight turning somewhat violent. Protesters clashing with police. They also lit a number of fires which read out that Rafah can wait, hostages cannot.
Okay. Now, Sarah, could you just brief us about what all is there in the proposal?
Well, certainly a lot of this is kept under wraps, but what we do understand so far, according to numerous reports, is that Israel has made a fair few concessions, one of these being accepting 33 hostages rather than 40 as previously stated. Israel also says it will withdraw from the corridor that actually splits the Gaza Strip in half and potentially allow residents of the northern part of the Strip, including men of fighting age, to return home. Now, this would all be for the release of potentially thousands of Palestinian prisoners, some of those who are serving time for murder, and also a 40-day ceasefire. So we do need to report that Hamas now has this agreement in its hands. It's deliberating, deciding what it will do with it. But what we do need to mention, of course, is that there's this main sticking point that's really been holding up discussions time after time, and this is the end to the war. Israel says it will not end the war without defeating Hamas, while Hamas once again wants a full, comprehensive ceasefire. Sid.
All right, Sarah, this is a developing story and we'll keep taking updates from you. But as of now, thank you so much for your analysis. While U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken has urged Hamas to accept a ceasefire proposal on his visit to the Middle East, the proposal includes a 40-day truce in return for the release of hostages and the prospect of displaced families being allowed back to northern Gaza. Blinken traveled to Saudi Arabia to meet with U.S. allies before heading to Jordan and Israel. Now, Nick Harper reports from Washington. Have a look.
Topping the agenda for Antony Blinken has been trying to secure a ceasefire deal and trying to secure the release of the remaining hostages held by Hamas. The Secretary of State met with multiple officials in Saudi's capital Riyadh on Monday, including with Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and he met foreign ministers from 5 other Arab countries. Blinken described the updated ceasefire proposal as extraordinarily generous and urged Hamas to accept the deal.
Hamas has before it a proposal that is extraordinarily generous on the part of Israel. And in this moment, the only thing standing between the people of Gaza and a ceasefire is Hamas. They have to decide, and they have to decide quickly. So we're looking to that, and I'm hopeful that they will make the right decision.
Israel has scaled back the number of hostages it's asking Hamas to free in the first phase of this potential truce. Reports suggest it's reducing its demand from 40 hostages to 33 and requesting that women, older people and those who are sick are prioritised. Blinken also discussed increasing the delivery of humanitarian assistance to Palestinians in Gaza, and he warned Israel not to go ahead with its planned ground offensive on Rafah in the southern part of the Gaza Strip. Washington worries that Israel still intends to press ahead with an assault in an area where hundreds of thousands of Palestinian civilians, most of them displaced because of fighting in other parts of Gaza, are currently sheltering. Blinken continues his diplomatic tour, visiting Jordan and Israel on Tuesday. Nick Harper in Washington, reporting for DD India.
And meanwhile, US President Joe Biden has urged leaders from Qatar and Egypt to exert all efforts to secure the release of hostages held by Hamas. Biden held a separate phone call with Egyptian President Abdel Fattah al-Sisi and Qatar's Emir Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani. He also discussed the dangers of a military escalation in Rafah. Besides, the two presidents also stressed the necessity of working to prevent expansion of the conflict and reaffirmed the importance of the two-state solution as the means to achieve security, peace and stability in the region. While Houthi rebels attacked 2 Israel-linked ships and 2 American destroyers in the Red Sea and the Indian Ocean, Houthi military spokesperson said that MSC Orion and MV Cyclades were targeted with several drones and missiles.
The Yemeni armed forces carried out military operations against hostile warships in the Red Sea, of which 2 American warships were targeted with a number of drones. The military operations achieved their goals successfully.
The US military has started building a large floating pier off Gaza's coast to facilitate the delivery of humanitarian aid. Ships will deliver aid from Cyprus to the pier, where it will be loaded onto trucks to transfer across Gaza. The pier will be attached to the shore by a temporary causeway, which the trucks will use. US officials say the pier will be operational by early May. Once operational, up to 150 trucks of aid could be delivered a day with 2 million meals, enough to feed almost all of the territory's 2.3 million population. And World Central Kitchen, a US-based charity, resumes relief work in the Gaza Strip after nearly a month-long suspension. The World Central Kitchen said in a press statement that they have so far distributed more than 43 million meals and eager to provide millions more. The organization stressed the importance of delivering food aid to northern Gaza, noting that approximately 8 million meals are ready to enter Gaza through the Rafah border crossing. The charity suspended its humanitarian aid operations in Gaza on 2nd of April after 7 of its staff members were killed in an Israeli strike. News from Colombia now. As the student protest continues in US, Columbia University has warned student protesters to disperse or face suspension as their encampment rages on for 14th day. The college has asked demonstrators to sign a document agreeing to voluntarily leave or be evicted from the camp and suspended from the Ivy League. University president said in a statement that organizers and academic leaders could not reach an agreement that would break a stalemate over the encampment, which the administration says violates university rules. Protesters have vowed to keep their encampment until their 3 demands are met: divestments, transparency in Columbia's finances, and amnesty for students and faculty disciplined for their part in the protests. Some updates related to Russia-Ukraine conflict now. A Russian strike killed at least 2 people and injured 6 more in the northeastern Ukrainian city of Kharkiv. According to the Ukrainian side, attack damaged a residential building. Earlier, Ukrainian Black Sea port of Odessa was struck by a Russian missile on Monday, leaving 4 dead and 28 injured. Ukrainian Navy spokesperson said the strike was conducted by an Iskander-M ballistic missile with a cluster warhead. Frontline versions for Ukraine as it awaits delivery of Western weapons, especially from the US. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said that as he met NATO chief Jens Stoltenberg in Kiev, Zelensky said some of the aid had started to arrive but added that it needed to be delivered faster. His comments come after the US agreed a $61 billion package of mostly military aid for Ukraine. While on his part, Stoltenberg expressed optimism that when the arms were delivered, it would help turn the tide. Now, UK has launched physical checks on fresh food products imported from the European Union. This comes 3 years after the country left the bloc. Business groups are now warning the checks will push up costs and could lead to some items disappearing from British supermarkets. Julia Chapman reports from London. Have a look.
For decades, fresh food coming to the UK from the European Union could be imported at minimal hassle. As part of the bloc, the UK had the same sanitary standards as other members. But ever since it left the EU, a change has been looming.
My Lords, the controls set out in our new Border Target Operating Model, BTOM, represent a comprehensive assessment of the biosecurity and public health risks presented by imports, together with the risk of relevant pests and diseases. They allow us to assess our confidence in the exporting country's production standards and health controls. The BTOM aims to strike the right balance between allowing trade to flow and to protecting our domestic producers from threats such as African swine fever.
From now on, meat, dairy, fruit, vegetables and plants coming from the EU will face possible inspection. Anything that poses a medium risk to biosecurity will be checked visually and with temperature readings. British businesses importing from the EU will have to pay $180 a consignment. It's a significant cost as the UK imports 45% of its food. The government says in practice fewer than 1 in 100 shipments will be physically inspected, and it defends the cost to businesses, arguing that an outbreak of disease would be far more expensive. But industry groups say the changes will bring unintended consequences. There are warnings that the new rules could lead to shortages. Some wholesalers are turning away from the UK market because of the added bureaucracy and cost. And a rainy spring has led farmers to expect poor harvests this year, making the country even more reliant on imports.
Our concern is that this will disproportionately impact smaller operators, and we could see them withdraw from the market. That could subsequently reduce the choice that we have on shelves, and inevitably these additional costs have to be picked up somewhere in the supply chain. Many of our members are already operating under very tight margins.
The higher import prices will ultimately be passed on to the consumer. After the rate of inflation had been falling, the UK could see costs rise once again. Julia Chapman in London, reporting for DD India.
And still to come on this edition of DD India News Hour, we tell you the latest weather reports in some parts of the world and how people are dealing with it. And the Dubai Food Festival returns for its 11th edition. Stay tuned for more details. We'll give you. Also, energy ministers from Group of 7 major democracies reaches deal to shut down their coal-fired power plants in the first half of the 2030s. We'll give you in-depth details on this. Stay tuned.
India that invents. India that innovates. India that excites. India that invites. Land of possibility. Teeming with opportunities. Watch India Ideas each Thursday, 8 p.m. only on DD India.
And you're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Beijing and Manila have repeatedly clashed in recent months at the submerged reef, which Philippines says is in its exclusive economic zone, but which China also claims as its own. And in the latest, both sides witnessing standoff and traded accusations over aggressive maneuvers there, and the Philippines recently summoned a Chinese diplomat over the actions. Tensions flared again as China's Coast Guard said on Tuesday it barred a Philippine Coast Guard ship and another vessel from waters adjacent to the Scarborough Shoal. Meanwhile, the Philippines Coast Guard accused its Chinese counterpart on Tuesday of using water cannon in a disputed area of the South China Sea, which damaged one of its vessels. China and Philippines previously said they would seek better communications and management around skirmishes in a vast South China Sea, but tensions have increased recently, especially after Philippines forged stronger diplomatic and military ties with the United States. All right, and DD India's Laura Westbrook joins us from Hong Kong to give latest details on this. Laura, Philippines has accused China's Coast Guard of harassment and damaging one of its boats in a disputed area of the South China Sea. Now, what details do you have for us on this?
Yeah, that's right. This really is the latest flare-up in tensions between Manila and Beijing in the South China Sea. We've had a statement by the Philippines Coast Guard spokesman on the social media platform X, and he says that 2 Philippines vessels had been heading to supply fishermen in the Scarborough Shoal. This is a hotly contested area of the South China Sea when it had encountered dangerous maneuvers and obstruction by Chinese Coast Guard vessels, and that the Chinese Coast Guard vessels had fired water cannon against these 2 ships that damaged one of the ships, and he said that that showed how strong the water pressure was, that it had managed to damage the railings and canopy of one of these Philippines ships. He also said that China had erected a 380-meter floating barrier to stop vessels from going into the area, but that the Philippines had managed to continue on with their maritime patrol. And we've just heard from the Chinese Foreign Ministry spokesman in their regular press briefing. China says that they that they had managed to expel these two Philippine vessels from the area.
All right.
That's there are these competing claims of what exactly happens there. And the spokesman also said that China urged the Philippines to stop its provocative acts of infringement and to not challenge China's determination to safeguard its sovereignty. China claims most of the South China Sea, and there are overlapping claims with the Philippines.
Laura, China and the Philippines previously said that they would seek better communication and management around skirmishes in the vast South China Sea. But what actually happened in the past few months?
Well, since they said that statement, we have seen more flare-ups in the South China Sea. Just in March last month, another Philippine vessel said that it was damaged, and some of its crew members were also injured in clashes with Chinese Coast Guard vessels. Also, right now, the US and the Philippines are holding joint maritime exercises. So we are seeing the Philippines growing closer to one of its key allies, the United States. Those exercises include naval drills, and they are happening for the first time in the Philippines' territorial waters, 12 nautical miles outside of the Philippines' territorial waters, in waters that face the South China Sea and Taiwan. Beijing has called those military exercises, saying that the Philippines, by bringing in other countries to flex its muscles in the area, is undermining regional stability. So we really are seeing growing tensions between these two countries, and the U.S. is also weighing in. U.S. Secretary of State Antony Blinken was just in China last week, and he said that freedom of navigation in the South China Sea was vital. Remember, the South China Sea is a key strategic area of the region. Trillions of US dollars in trade pass through it. China claims most of it, but that's despite legal precedents and competing claims from other countries.
All right, we'll keep taking updates on this story from you, Laura, but as of now, we leave it there, and thank you so much for your analysis. Well, we stay in the same region as the Philippine and US troops are participating in amphibious assault drills as part of their annual 2-week joint military exercises. The drills run until May 10 amid high tensions between Beijing and Manila, who both have claims to maritime territory in the South China Sea. As Laura Westbrook, our correspondent, reports from Hong Kong. Have a look.
The Balikatan, or shoulder-to-shoulder military exercises, take place every year, and they involve some 16,000 mostly American and Filipino troops. But for the first time, the Philippine Coast Guard will take part, as well as the French Navy, and they will take place some 12 nautical miles outside of the Philippines' territorial waters. They are also simulating retaking enemy-occupied islands facing Taiwan and the South China Sea. And this is significant because we have seen increased clashes between the Philippine Coast Guard and Chinese vessels when the Philippines has gone on these resupply missions. Now, the US Secretary of State recently visited China last week, and he said that freedom of navigation in the South China Sea was incredibly vital. This is an incredibly strategic area of the region. It sees trillions of trade pass through every year. The response from China has been that the Philippines bringing in other countries to flex its muscles in the South China Sea will only undermine regional stability. Laura Westbrook in Hong Kong, reporting for DD India.
Well, climate change is real and climate crisis is also real. The group of 7 energy ministers on Monday pledged to close their coal plants in the first half of the 2030s, potentially setting a global example for fighting the climate crisis. G7 energy and ecological transition ministers have agreed to exit from coal by 2035. On Tuesday, the ministers will issue a final communique detailing the G7 commitments to decarbonize their economies. The ministers were also pondering potential restrictions to Russian imports of liquefied natural gas to Europe, which the European Commission is due to propose in the short term. The agreement on coal marks a significant step in the direction indicated last year by the COP28 United Nations Climate Summit in December to transition away from coal, oil and gas. Weather updates now, starting from Kenya. Flash floods wreaked havoc across central Kenya, killing at least 45 people and injuring over 110 others. People in villages near Mai Mahiu were swept away as they slept. Police has initially blamed the flooding on a burst dam. However, the Ministry of Water later said it was caused by a river tunnel under a railway embankment becoming blocked with debris. Rescuers are searching for at least 91 people who are missing in heavy flooding across Kenya. The deaths have brought the overall toll across Kenya from heavy rains and flooding since March to over 140. More than 185,000 people have been displaced. Coming to India now. The IMD, India Meteorological Department, has warned of severe heat wave conditions over eastern parts of India till May 1st and over the South Peninsular region in the coming 5 days. The Weather Department also says that the situation will improve gradually after Wednesday. There is a possibility of rain in some parts of Punjab, Haryana, Maharashtra, Chhattisgarh and Telangana. In the national capital, an alert of strong winds has been issued in Delhi till May 1st. The Meteorological Department says that there is a possibility of light rain with thunder in Delhi on May 4th. According to IMD, the maximum temperature of Delhi can remain between 35 to 40 degrees Celsius this entire week. Now from India, going to Dubai, where the Dubai Food Festival has returned for its 11th edition following the recent unusual rainfall in the city. Celebrating Dubai's diverse culinary landscape, the festival, organized by Dubai's Festivals and Retail Establishment, offers a range of culinary experiences, special menus and events. One of the festival's standout feature is the debut of the Gold and Millau Culinary Innovators event, gathering 12 of Dubai's top chefs under one roof. All right, let's take a look at other stories making news around the globe. Known for his unpredictable diplomacy, the Solomon Islands Prime Minister Manasseh Sogavare bowed out of race for leader on Monday evening. His party nominated former Foreign Minister Jeremiah Manele. This declaration came after no clear winner was decided in the national election. Solomon Islands will vote for Prime Minister on Thursday. A Thailand migrant, Charlie Saifan, won $1.3 billion from the Powerball jackpot in Oregon on Monday. He's been battling cancer since 2016. The prize, the 8th largest in US history, will be split with his wife, Duapin, and his friend, Liza. Powerball tickets are sold in 45 states, the District of Columbia, the US Virgin Islands, in Puerto Rico. Now, based on their local beliefs, villagers in Fayuhakiri district of Thailand performed a rain-invoking ceremony on Monday. Moving away from tradition, they said a Doraemon doll and a white cat doll were used for the ritual. Placed in cage adorned with marigold garlands, villagers paraded the Doraemon doll around 3 villages, singing and dancing to rain-invoking songs. In a first since the beginning of Russia-Ukraine conflict, a British royal arrived in Ukraine to show solidarity with the affected people and families. According to a statement by Buckingham Palace on Monday, Duchess of Edinburgh, Sophie, made the surprise visit on behalf of Britain's Foreign Office. This visit is also a part of her work related to survivors of conflict-related sexual violence. Indonesia's Ruang volcano off the island of Sulawesi erupted again on Tuesday, sweeping ash and lava. Authorities have urged residents not to get near the volcano. Indonesia straddles the so-called Pacific Ring of Fire, an area of high seismic activity where multiple tectonic plates meet. And still to come on DD India News Hour. Well, stay tuned to see how the excitement is building up and election fervor gripping the country ahead of general elections 2024 in India. Repolling at 6 polling stations of the lone outer Manipur parliamentary seat underway peacefully in Manipur on Tuesday. Details ahead.
Hype versus facts. In-depth news and analysis with experts who will help you decide why this election matters. DD India is the main election headquarters with numbers most accurate, data most reliable, and viewership across the platforms. Stay tuned to the Great Indian Election only on weekdays at 8:30 p.m. IST and 1500 hours GMT.
You're watching DD India News Hour. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. A quick recap of the headlines. Israel set to dispatch a team to Cairo for discussions with Hamas. Ceasefire higher in the agenda. Israel warns this is the last chance for a truce deal. Philippines Coast Guard says vessel damaged from China's use of water cannon. China expels Philippine vessels from Scarborough Shoal. Excitement grips India amidst the ongoing general elections 2024. Third phase polling on May 7th. Campaigning in full swing in various parts of the country. In an interview to a private news channel, Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi slammed Congress leader Rahul Gandhi's proposal for a national X-ray or surveys to redistribute wealth, saying that it reflected Maoist ideology which has never benefited the world.
एक्सरे का मतलब क्या है जी? मतलब हर परिवार में जाना, घर घर छापा मारना, अगर किसी अनाज के डिब्बे में किसी महिला ने अपने गहने छपा के रखे हैं, उसको भी एक्सरे किया जाएगा, उनके गहने ले लिए जाएंगे, जमीनों का हिसाब किताब किया जाएगा और फिर उसको रिडिस्ट्रीब्यूट करेंगे। ये दुनिया में एक माओवादी विचार ने सब किया हुआ है, दुनिया बर्बाद हो चुकी है। ये पूरी तरह अर्बन नक्सल उस सोच का सीधा सीधा प्रकटीकरण है। ईवीएम का जवाब तो देश की सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने दे दिया है और 2014 में इनके पास ईडी थी, इनके पास सीबीआई थी, तो हार क्यों गए भाई? अगर ईडी सीबीआई से चुनाव जीते जाते तो ईडी सीबीआई का काम तो इतने सालों तक कांग्रेस ने किया है, वो जीत जाते हैं जी। और इतना बड़ा देश एक म्युनिसिपैलिटी का चुनाव फिक्स नहीं कर सकते हो भाई, जरा करके देखो, ये संभव होता है क्या फिक्सिंग? क्या क्या दुनिया को मूर्ख बना। मैं मानता हूं पिछले कई दिनों से इंडिया अलायंस के लोग इतने निराश हो चुके हैं कि अभी उनको बहाने ढूंढना बहुत जरूरी बन गया है, क्योंकि पराजय के बाद भी लोगों के सामने जाने के लिए उनको इसलिए मैं समझता हूं शायद वो अभी से ये सारे तर्क ढूंढ रहे हैं।
All right, let's get you the latest on the world's largest democratic election in India. Ahead of the third phase of the Indian general elections, campaigning continues to gain steam on Tuesday. 93 seats, including 11 seats in Maharashtra, are going to polls on May 7th in the third phase. Prime Minister Narendra Modi addressed a public gathering in Maharashtra's Madha and Osmanabad. During his rally in Madha, PM said that with the blessings of all our voters, we have been able to provide free food to 80 crore people.
आज 80 करोड़ देशवासियों को उनकी थाली भरी हुई रहती है, उनका चूल्हा जलता रहता है, उनका बच्चा भूखा नहीं सोता है। 80 करोड़ लोगों को मुफ्त खाना मिलता है। इसका पुण्य किसको मिलता है? आपको मिलता है। आपने मोदी को वोट देकर के ये पुण्य कार्य करने के लिए भेजा है।
And in some other election updates, Union Home Minister Amit Shah addressed a public meeting in Katwa, West Bengal. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh also addressed a public meeting in Madhya Pradesh's Khandwa and Barwani. BJP candidate from New Delhi Lok Sabha constituency Bansuri Swaraj along with Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri filed her nomination. Odisha Chief Minister and BJD candidate from Hinjali, Naveen Patnaik, also filed his nomination papers. He is contesting the assembly elections from Kanta Banji and Hinjali assembly seats. While opposition Congress leader Rahul Gandhi addressed a public meeting in MP's Bhind, 8 seats in the state are going to polls in the third phase. During the rally, he said that this election is the fight of ideologies.
ये चुनाव मामूली चुनाव नहीं है। इस चुनाव में दो विचारधाराओं की टक्कर है। एक तरफ कांग्रेस पार्टी, इंडिया गठबंधन जो संविधान को बचाने की कोशिश कर रहा है।
All right, in Manipur, under tight security arrangements, repolling at 6 polling stations of the lone Outer Manipur parliamentary seat is underway peacefully on Tuesday. The 6 polling stations fall under Ukhrul, Chingai and Karong assembly segments. The Election Commission had announced repolling after violent incidents causing damage to EVMs and VVPATs interrupted the voting process during the phase 2 of general elections. Voting started at 7 a.m. and will continue till 4 p.m. Barpeta Lok Sabha constituency is not merely a political battleground but a vibrant melting pot of Assamese, Bengali and Bodo cultures. Recently, Barpeta's political landscape underwent a seismic shift during the delimitation exercise, setting the stage for a fresh electoral equation. Watch this special story by our correspondent Tapas Bhattacharya.
In the heart of Lower Assam lies constituency, a land steeped in rich cultural heritage and historical significance. Home to the Vaishnavite Satra, the political landscape of Barpeta underwent a transformation during the delimitation exercise, reshaping its electoral dynamics. 5 out of 10 assembly segments were newly created, setting the stage for a fresh electoral equation. Traditionally a migrant Muslim majority seat, the reorganization has sparked hopes for a shift in representation after over 2 decades.
Delimitation was the need of an hour. In Barpeta constituency, earlier there was no chance for the local people or the indigenous people to win elections here. After delimitation, you see Nalwari has been included here and Bongaigaon has been included. Some major areas has been included here, which will help the indigenous people of Assam.
Voters here in new 3 Nong Barpeta constituency, there is 19 lakhs voters are there. Out of 19 lakhs, around 12 lakhs Hindus and this 7 lakhs something Muslim. So Muslim voters is something lesser as in comparison with the earlier. So automatically the chance of the Hindu candidate for returning in this election is likely to be done.
Now, a triangular electoral battle looms large, with BJP's key ally, Ahom Gana Parishad or AGP, entering the fray. AGP's candidate, Phoni Bhushan Chaudhary, Congress's Deep Bayan and CPM's Manoranjan Talukdar are set to contest fiercely for the coveted seat.
In Barpeta Lok Sabha constituency, a rich cultural heritage collides with the shifting political dynamics post-delimitation. With the triangular battle ahead, hopes arises for a better tomorrow. With camera person Naveen, this is Tapush Bhattacharya from Barpeta for TD India.
All right, and election fervor is certainly gripping up in the country, and we've been joined by our reporters. Tapas Bhattacharya is joining us from Kokrajhar, Meghna Dev is joining us from Ahmedabad, and Vishal Barrister is with us, who is joining us from Telangana. First, Meghna, 25 seats are for grabs in third phase. Initially, it was 26. However, in Surat, BJP candidate already declared winner due to lack of opposition. Tell us, how's the atmosphere there ahead of the polls?
Obviously, when we actually see it's just a week to go for the polls, the election campaigning has caught up momentum, and we have been seeing that all star campaigners from because in Gujarat there is not a multi-party system, it's just BJP versus the Congress, be it assembly elections or be it the general elections. But this time around, obviously, there are two candidates who have been fielded from the Aam Aadmi Party under the India Alliance. What we definitely see, especially in Bhavnagar and in Bharuch, which is the tribal area in Gujarat, from there, candidates from the Aam Aadmi Party have been fielded by the alliance. But what we definitely see that the star pracharaks from the star campaigners from the BJP and the Congress have started their rallies and road shows and reaching out to the voters here. We will obviously see Prime Minister Narendra Modi also campaign tomorrow onwards in Gujarat. He has multiple rallies and public meetings lined up. What we definitely see that BJP senior leader Amit Shah is also campaigning constantly here in Gujarat, be it in central Gujarat. He also campaigned in Vadodara and he also campaigned in Bharuch. But definitely, while Gujarat is known for a clean sweep for the BJP, we definitely understand that in a few specific areas there is a neck-to-neck contest between the Congress and the BJP.
All right, it's a neck-to-neck competition between the BJP and the Congress. We've also been joined by Tapas Bhattacharya, who's there in Kokrajhar. Tapas, what are you picking up from where you are right now? How's the atmosphere there? And how's the excitement building up in the voters as they are about to go to polls on May 7th?
Right, so Siddharth, you have to understand that I'm in Kokrajhar, which is the heart of the Bodo land movement, and for the first time in the history, this time there hasn't been any talk about Bodoland. There hasn't been any talk about any separate state or any specific period state for that matter. They have been talking about development. They are talking about the way to move forward, having development, having infrastructure in this particular area. This is even as far back as 2016 we have seen ethnic clashes going in this particular area. But since 2020, when the third accord between Bodoland, Bodo Tribal Authority as well as the state at the center, that was signed, since then we have been seeing the number of cases have gone down drastically, and now the people have been talking about this general election being a watershed period in the history of Kokrajhar, and they want to vote for development here. There are a few, there will be a tri-party contest that is currently going on here, and one believes that here in Kokrajhar, NDA's ally, United People's Party nominee Jayanta Basumatri, Congress Garjan Mashre, and Bodoland People's Front Kampapa Borgoy, they are the three parties that will be gunning for glory in this particular section. But apart from that, there are other seats also that will go on the third phase of the poll on 7th of May. That is the one will be Guwahati. Then there will be Barpeta, where we already shown you the story about how the delimitation is making major work there, and it's expected to be a major fight again that side. Dhubri, it's going to be another interesting case where we will find another AIUDF candidate, Mr. Badruddin Ajmal, staking his claim to to win this seat for the 5th time. So a lot will be going on. BJP, along with its ally, will be is taking its claim along with the other parties. Congress and other parties are also making sure that they don't leave any stone unturned before these 4 seats go to poll on 7th of May.
All right, Vishal is also with us. Vishal, what are you getting for us from Telangana?
Well, Siddharth, it is absolutely very, very hot here. As you can see, I'm putting on this cloth to protect my neck. The Met Department has issued an advisory. There's a yellow alert because the mercury has crossed 40 degrees. And it has already given more heat to the already hot election campaign here in Telangana.
Indeed.
The Chief Minister of Telangana, remember it's a Congress-ruled state, has been served notice by the Delhi police for producing a doctored version of Amit Shah's statement during his election campaign in Telangana. I am 60 kilometers from Zahirabad, the place from where Prime Minister would be holding a public rally. Telangana goes to poll in the 4th phase, that is 13th of May. And Zahirabad is an interesting seat because the two-time winner from the TRS, which was the Telangana Rashtriya Sena, are now renamed to Bharat Rashtriya Sena in October last year. The candidate, Mr. B.B. Patil, has been fielded by the BJP. So it is going to be an interesting contest between the Bharatiya Janata Party, who has fielded B.B. Patil, the earlier winner from the Bharat Rashtriya Sena, the Congress Party, and the BRS.
Well, definitely, like I say, the election fervor is certainly gripping the country. Thank you so much, Vishal Baristo and Tapas Bhattacharya, also Meghna Dev, for those analyses. Now, election campaign in the southern state of Telangana has become all the more hot. Amidst the advisory on the heat wave, the Delhi police has served a notice to the Chief Minister of Telangana for violating the election code of conduct. DD India correspondent Vishal Baristo speaks exclusively to the state BJP chief of Telangana, G. Kishan Reddy, to find out more. Have a look.
Election campaign is in full swing. I am in Telangana, Secunderabad, and I have with me G. Kishan Reddy, who is heading the state campaign as far as Telangana is concerned. Let's talk to him and find out. Today, Prime Minister would also be holding a rally here. How do you see things?
Today, Honorable Prime Minister is coming to Telangana. He is going to address a public rally, election public rally at Jairabad Parliament constituency in Andol area today evening 3 o'clock. I am going to there now.
Sir, the Chief Minister of Telangana has been served a notice by the Delhi police for a doctored message of the Home Minister. So how do you see things? He has so far refused to adhere to the notice.
This is a irresponsible Chief Minister. Unmatured Chief Minister. What he will speak and what he will do, everybody knows in Telangana. But in recent days, BJP strength increasing in day by day. Everywhere, before three months back, Congress has won in assembly elections. But these elections, everybody feels Narendra Modi should come again as a Prime Minister. That's why people of Telangana wants to vote for Bharatiya Janata Party.
There has been a warning by the Met Department regarding the heat wave in Telangana. So how is it affecting the campaign?
Yeah, because this alert is for 1 week. Our Bharatiya Janata Party, my central leadership and state party also, we have decided we will complete public interactions, public functions before 11 o'clock daytime, and after 5 o'clock we start again. That's why we are taking care.
You heard G. Kishan Reddy. He is quite confident a lot as far as BJP is concerned in Telangana elections. With cameraman Manmohan in Secunderabad, this is Vishal Baristo for DD India.
Amidst the heat of election season, Karnataka's Hubli town is on the boil following a young Hindu girl's murder by a boy from different community, which is taking a political turn. As both Congress and Bharatiya Janata Party spar over the issue, the matter, which has grabbed national headlines, is sure to be a hot poll issue. DD India correspondent Ravi Dhiman reports from Ground Zero.
As it approaches to vote for the Lok Sabha elections on 7th of May, the town of Hubli in Karnataka is simmering with anger and an eager search for justice. Fighting for space and attention besides political slogans and banners are posters of this girl, Neha Hiremat. She is no longer alive, killed mercilessly by a spurned man inside a college campus. Neha's father, Niranjan Hiremat, is a Congress councillor in the Dharwad Hubli Municipal Council. The incident triggered immediate response by various political and social groups, but some statements by the state ministers made the already delicate situation worse.
I want to demand both the governments to take the legal law for this case, Neha Hiremat law. In this case, we want the justice.
And as Hubli readies to vote, the issue has taken center stage, pushing all other narratives to the sidelines.
हुबली में हमारी एक बेटी के साथ जो कॉलेज कैंपस में हुआ, उसने तो पूरे देश में भूचाल ला दिया है। उस बेटी का परिवार एक्शन की मांग करता रहा, लेकिन कांग्रेस की सरकार तुष्टीकरण का दबाव उसी को प्राथमिकता देती है। उनके लिए नेहा जैसी बेटियों की जिंदगी की कीमत नहीं है, उनको तो अपने वोट बैंक की चिंता है।
The state government has handed over the case to the CID and has also formed a fast-track court to expedite the trial. Fayaz is in custody and the investigations are going on. Elections have propelled this issue to prominence.
It's not the first case of its kind in India, but yet another tragic incident in a series of crimes against girls, deranged, psychic lunatics committing heinous crimes against girls. Election fever in Karnataka has brought this case to the limelight. But the real tribute to Neha and many others before her would be a bigger, sterner legal response to such incidents in future. With camera person Mor Mukut Sharma, Ravi Dhiman in Hubli for DD India.
India's share in global services exports has more than doubled over the last 18 years, and rise of global capability centers, GCCs, has played a crucial role in the expansion. A global report was released on Monday, which said the proliferation of GCCs has given a boost to real estate, expanded services exports, added to economic growth, created jobs, and led to rapid increase in revenues for the firms. GCCs are specialized offshore entities set up by companies operating across the world and support a raft of business processes. Report said India's services exports grew to nearly $340 billion in 2023 at a CAGR of around 11% from 2005, outpacing goods export growth. Report also said that within services, computer services remain the dominant subsector, accounting for nearly half of India's services exports in 2023. However, professional consulting exports have been the fastest growing sector. Well, you're watching DD India News Hour, and time now for sport, and for that my colleague Abhishek Mahajan is here. Abhishek, very good afternoon to you. Tell us what is happening in the world of sport.
Good afternoon, Siddharth. A lot happening in sports. We'll start with IPL, Indian Premier League. We'll talk about today's matches first. In Tuesday's Indian Premier League matches, Lucknow Super Giants are up against Mumbai Indians in Lucknow. And after 2 losses in their last 2 games, Mumbai Indians' playoff chances have nosedived. And if they lose on Tuesday, their bid for the last 4 would be difficult. Though Lucknow Super Giants are also coming off a defeat, they are in a much better position on the points table. A win against MI could even propel them to 2nd position. And apart from the advantage of playing at home, they will be boosted by the return of paceman Mayank Yadav, who has passed his fitness test. Lucknow Super Giants have played 4 games against the Mumbai Indians. The Super Giants have been the dominant force in the clash with 3 wins, while the Mumbai Indians have won just a single game. And in Monday's game, Phil Salt demolished the Delhi Capitals bowlers as Kolkata Knight Riders clinched a convincing 7-wicket win against the visitors in Kolkata on Monday. Chasing a target of 154, KKR's batsmen made light work of the total. They reached the target in just 16.3 overs. Salt played an explosive innings, scoring 68 of 33 deliveries, which included 7 fours and 5 sixes. Salt set the tone for the chase, leaving little for captain Shreyas Iyer and Venkatesh Iyer to do in the final stretch. Earlier, KKR's bowlers made full use of the conditions after Capitals chose to bat first. Mitchell Starc and Vaibhav Arora took 3 wickets inside the power play, after which the spinners took over. Varun Chakravarti's 3-wicket haul reduced Capitals to 111 for 8 at one stage. They set KKR a 154-run target thanks to an unlikely unbeaten 35 of 26 deliveries from Kuldeep Yadav. With this victory, KKR have strengthened their playoff bid. Shifting focus from cricket to football, Real Madrid will take on Bayern Munich in their first leg of Champions League semi-finals in Germany on Tuesday. Real Madrid manager Carlos Ancelotti said that his side will not make the mistake of looking past Bayern Munich despite the rival's disappointing domestic campaign. Ancelotti said European pedigree matters and the 6-time winners will have extra motivation to win the last trophy they can fight for. Bayern Munich reached the Champions League semis for the first time in 4 years with a 3-2 aggregate win over Arsenal. Meanwhile, the 14-time champions Real made the last 4 after knocking out holders Manchester City on penalties. Alright, tennis now. World number 2. Jannik Sinner overcame some hip discomfort and less than perfect serving performance to advance past Russia's Pavel Kotov 6-2-7-5 into the 4th round of the Madrid Open. The tournament's top seed in the absence of Novak Djokovic, Sinner will face another Russian, Karen Khachanov, next as he targets a 3rd Masters 1000 title. For his part, Khachanov overcame Sinner's Italian compatriot Flavio Cobolli 7-5, 6-4. Also, Rafael Nadal survived a second set wobble to defeat Pedro Cachin 6-1, 6-7, 6-3 in the Madrid Open 3rd round. Nadal held his nerve as he was tested by the 91st ranked Argentine who won his maiden ATP title at the 2023 Swiss Open. Nadal next faces Czech Jiří Leka, who beat Brazilian qualifier Thiago Monteiro 6-4, 7-6 to reach the 4th round. And in women's singles, world number 1 Iga Swiatek made light work of Spain's Sara Sorribes-Tormo in the 4th round of the Madrid Open, wrapping up an emphatic 6-1, 6-0 victory in just over an hour. The result sees last year's losing finalist continue her bid for a maiden Masters 1000 title on clay while leaving no Spanish representation left in the women's singles draw. Meanwhile, defending champion Aryna Sabalenka came back from a set down against world number 15 Danielle Collins, putting an end to the 30-year-old American's 15-match winning streak while keeping her own hopes alive of becoming the first 3-time winner in Madrid since Petra Kvitova. And in an all-American 4th round matchup, Madison Keys upset number 3 seed Coco Gauff to reach a first ever quarterfinal of the tournament. Keys fought back from 2-4 down in the 3rd set to prevail 7-6, 4-6, 6-4 against Coco Gauff. Keys took the lead in her overall head-to-head record against her younger compatriot with 3 wins to Gauff's 2. And boxing great Mike Tyson and prize fighter Jake Paul's July 20th bout in Arlington will be sanctioned as a professional fight. It will count on both men's records. The heavyweight matchup will be contested over 8 rounds of 2 minutes each with 14-ounce gloves. Tyson, one of the most feared boxers in history, will be 58 when he enters the ring for the first time since his November 2020 exhibition bout against Roy Jones Jr., which ended in a draw. The 31-year-old age gap between the fighters is the biggest in the history of professional boxing. An exhibition typically has no judges and can only be won by knockout, meaning there is a higher possibility of a draw. Alright, that's all we have in the world of sports. Back to you, Siddharth.
Well, certainly a lot is happening in the world of sport, Abhishek, but thank you for all those updates. The Indian Council for Cultural Relations celebrated its 75th Foundation Day in Sri Lanka on Monday. The event underscored the importance of cultural diplomacy and served as a testament to the enduring bond between India and Sri Lanka. Sri Lankan ministers and the High Commissioner of India, Santosh Jha, attended the event. Alright, that's all for this edition of DD India News Hour, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. And for those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on the DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. Scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India News Hour.